Ever pondered how the internet, an indispensable part of our lives, came into existence? Let's take a leap back in time to the swinging 60s, an era of change and innovation that set the stage for the inception of the internet as we know it. The journey begins with ARPANET, the granddaddy of the internet. ARPANET, an acronym for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, was the first network to implement the protocol suite TCP/IP. These protocols laid the foundation for data transmission, making it possible for computers to talk to each other. Before this, computers were like isolated islands, powerful yet alone. But why was ARPANET created? It was the brainchild of the US Department of Defense, born out of the throes of the Cold War. The military sought to create a communication network that could withstand any disaster, even a nuclear attack. The goal was to ensure that if one part of the network was damaged, the rest would continue to function. This was a revolutionary concept, an early example of the resilience that's now a hallmark of the internet. The first message ever sent over ARPANET was "Hello," from the word login. But the system crashed before the full word could be typed out. Yet even with this inauspicious start, the network grew. By the end of the 60s, ARPANET had connected 4 major US universities, laying the groundwork for today's internet. So, what started as a military project quickly expanded beyond those confines. Researchers, scientists, and academics began to see the potential of this interconnected network, leading to further growth and development. Over time, ARPANET evolved, paving the way for the internet we're all familiar with today. So, the journey of the internet started with a military project, but it was about to take a revolutionary turn in the next 2 decades. The 1980s saw a significant breakthrough in the evolution of the internet. If the 1960s were about the birth of the internet, the 1980s were about its adolescence, a time of growth, change, and finding its identity. This was the era when the Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, or TCP/IP as we know it, was introduced. This was the game changer that would influence the course of the internet's evolution, making it more accessible and useful for non-military purposes. But what exactly is TCP/IP? It's a suite of communication protocols used to interconnect network devices on the internet. Imagine it as the language of the internet, allowing different networks to talk to each other. The TCP part handles the creation of communication channels between hosts, ensuring data reaches its destination without error and in the right sequence. The IP part is responsible for addressing and routing, ensuring that data packets are sent to the right place. Before the 1980s, networks were like isolated islands, unable to communicate with each other. But TCP/IP changed all that. It connected these isolated networks, creating a network of networks, or what we now call the internet. TCP/IP made it possible for a computer in Tokyo to send data to a computer in New York, or for a scientist in Antarctica to access a database in London. It made the world smaller, brought people closer together, and set the stage for the internet to become a vital part of everyday life. But perhaps the biggest impact of TCP/IP was that it opened up the internet for non-military use. Prior to its introduction, the internet was primarily a tool for the military and academia. But TCP/IP changed that. It paved the way for the creation of commercial networks and eventually the World Wide Web. The invention of TCP/IP was like paving the way for the internet to become a global phenomenon. It was the catalyst that transformed the internet from a niche technology into a universal platform for communication, information sharing, and commerce. It was the stepping stone that led us to the internet we know and love today. The 1990s brought the most transformative change in the history of the internet. As we step into this era, an English scientist by the name of Tim Berners-Lee brought forth a concept that would forever change how we interact with this vast digital network. In 1991, Berners-Lee, working at CERN, the European Physics Research Center, birthed the World Wide Web. The idea was simple yet revolutionary. He envisioned a system that could easily navigate the complex, intertwined network of documents and data found on the internet. The World Wide Web is not the internet itself, as often misunderstood. Rather, it's a part of it, a subset if you will. The internet refers to the infrastructure, the huge network of networks, while the World Wide Web is a way of accessing and navigating that information. Berners-Lee's creation was like a library, providing an interface to find, retrieve, and view documents called web pages, which are hosted on servers around the world. These pages could be interlinked through hypertext links, hence creating a web of information. But what truly set the World Wide Web apart was its simplicity and accessibility. It used a language called HTML, hypertext markup language, which made it possible for anyone, not just computer scientists, to create and publish their own web pages. This was a radical shift from the previous, more technical and less user-friendly ways of accessing data on the internet. And then Berners-Lee did something extraordinary. He decided to make the World Wide Web freely available to everyone. There were no patent fees, no usage charges, just a free and open platform for information exchange. This decision fueled unprecedented growth and innovation, leading to an explosion of websites and online services. From online shopping to social media, from streaming platforms to digital banking, the World Wide Web has become an integral part of our daily lives, transforming how we work, learn, communicate, and entertain ourselves. The World Wide Web, the internet as we know it today, was born. The late 90s and early 2000s was a wild ride for the internet world. Indeed, this period, often referred to as the dot-com boom, was marked by a frenzied rush to capitalize on the burgeoning potential of the internet. The promise of the World Wide Web had ignited the imaginations of entrepreneurs and investors alike. New internet companies, or dot-coms, sprang up overnight, each hoping to become the next big thing. The market was awash with venture capital, as investors pumped billions into these startups, banking on their future success. The mantra of the day was "get big fast," and many dot-coms burned through cash at an astonishing rate in a bid to secure market share. At the heart of this frenzy was a new kind of economy, the new economy, based on the belief that the internet had fundamentally changed the rules of business. Traditional measures of company value, such as profits or dividends, were sidelined in favor of more nebulous metrics like clicks or eyeballs. But as the new millennium dawned, the dot-com boom turned to bust. It became increasingly clear that many dot-coms, despite their lofty ambitions, lacked sustainable business models. Profits were elusive, and when the venture capital dried up, many of these companies simply folded. The fallout was dramatic. Billions in investment capital evaporated, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ index, which had soared during the boom, plummeted. The dot-com bust was a harsh reality check, a lesson in the dangers of speculation and overhype. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Out of the ashes of the dot-com bust emerged a new generation of tech companies, ones that learned from the mistakes of their predecessors. Companies like Google, Amazon, and eBay, which not only survived the dot-com bust but went on to become internet behemoths. Even though the dot-com bubble burst, it set the stage for the next phase of the internet. The dot-com bust served as a crucial turning point, a period of reckoning that ultimately paved the way for the internet as we know it today. The internet has come a long way since its inception, hasn't it? This statement rings truer than ever as we delve into the rise of social media platforms, streaming services, and the Internet of Things, or IoT. Let's start with social media. From the humble beginnings of websites like MySpace and Friendster, social media platforms have exploded into the global phenomenon we know today. Platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have not only changed how we communicate, but also how we consume news, do business, and even express ourselves. These platforms have given voice to millions, bridging geographical and cultural divides and transforming our world into a global village. Now let's talk about streaming platforms. Gone are the days of waiting a week for the next episode of your favorite TV series or rushing to the video rental store to catch the latest movie. With the advent of streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu, entertainment is now at our fingertips, available anytime, anywhere. These platforms have revolutionized the way we consume media, offering a vast library of content that caters to every taste, interest, and language. Finally, we come to the Internet of Things. This concept refers to the network of physical objects, devices, vehicles, home appliances that are connected to the internet, collecting and sharing data. From smart homes that adjust the temperature based on your preferences to wearable fitness trackers that monitor your health, the IoT is making our lives more efficient and personalized. It's fascinating, isn't it? The leaps and bounds by which the internet has evolved. From a military project to a global communication network to a platform for social interaction, a hub for entertainment, and a network for everyday devices. Each step in this evolution has dramatically reshaped how we interact, consume media, and use devices. Today, the internet is more than just a network of computers. It's a fundamental part of our daily lives, and its evolution continues to shape our future. As we stand on the cusp of the next wave of internet evolution, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and beyond, one can only wonder, what's next?